Hello everybody, my name is Lush Eisner and welcome to the Canadian Money Talk, the channel about Canadian investing and personal finance. Please like and subscribe. I record 2 videos per week, so make sure you ring the notification bell to get notified each time one comes out. So how much debt is normal? That is average in Canada. Let's break it down by age in this video, but let me preface the data by saying that debt is not a good thing, especially if it was consumer debt. If it is borrowing to invest and make more money using leverage, you'll have to make up your own mind whether that's something you're comfortable with. But debt seems to be a normal thing for Canadians these days. After a brief decline during the pandemic, the Canadian household debt to income soared 184.5% in the first quarter of 2023. That means Canadians owe nearly $1.85 for every dollar of disposable income. That ballooning debt has been mainly driven by rising mortgage balances as demand pushed home prices to record levels across the country. Does this mean that average Canadians are up to their eyeballs in debt? Not necessarily. What is the average debt for Canadians? Let's start by looking at the average consumer balance held across different credit products and an average for all Canadians. This information comes from TransUnion's Q1 2023 Credit Industry Insights Report. So for credit cards, the average owed is a little bit above $3,900. Installment loans, almost $21,000. Auto loans, $26,000. Lines of credit, $34,000, and mortgages, almost $350,000. Note that the numbers here represent the average consumer that carries a balance in these categories. For example, many people don't carry a credit card balance at all, but for those who do, then their average is a little bit above $3,900. And then when you look at average owed on mortgages and compare it to the benchmark price of a house in Canada at 700,017, you see that the average mortgage debt is about half of a typical home sale value. The mortgage debt and home benchmark prices are not from the same source, but you get the picture. So the average Canadian has more than 50% equity in their real estate. How much debt is normal for your age? While it's true that no one individual represents an average, there are themes around the type and amount of debt that each generation carries. I'll contrast that with the data from a recent Globe and Mail survey on average household debt by generation. In general, younger Canadians tend to be more heavily indebted, with overall household debt peaking in their 40s before declining sharply into their 50s and beyond. Indeed, it would not be uncommon to see debt to household income ratio of 400% or $4 owing for every $1 in disposable income for a 26-year-old couple earning a combined $125,000 after taxes who bought a house and carry a $500,000 mortgage. On the flip side, a 58-year-old couple with a combined after-tax income of $250,000 who have an outstanding mortgage balance of just $50,000 have a debt to household income ratio of just 20%, or 20 cents owing for every $1 in disposable income. Let's dive into the age groups and the sources of debt for each. Typical debt for 18 to 29-year-old Canadians. It's about $475,000. Gen Z is most likely to carry student loans and credit card balances, but older Gen Z and young millennials are also dipping their toes into the housing market and taking on big mortgages as first-time buyers. According to the survey, just over 28% of respondents in this age category had a mortgage, and of those, the average balance owed was $475,318. Of the respondents in this age category who carry credit card debt, the average balance was about $4,500. Finally, 20-somethings who owed money on a home equity line of credit, HELOC, had an average balance of just over 55,000. Typical debt for 30 to 39-year-old Canadians, 644,000. The 30-somethings are likely to have a mortgage from a recent house purchase, along with debt from a line of credit and an auto loan or two. Respondents of the survey in this category had a total debt of about 644,000 between mortgages, HELOCs, credit cards, and student loans. Mortgages were the largest debt culprit, with an average mortgage balance of just over $500,000 for those in their 30s. Of note, 71% of 30 to 39-year-olds respondents had a mortgage balance. 30-somethings who carry a credit card balance on average owed about $6,200 on their cards. Typical debt for 40 to 49-year-old Canadians, 648,000. 40-somethings tend to have a large mortgage balance and line of credit, but they also have a lot going for them. They have higher incomes and have moved beyond the expensive childcare years on the average. Survey respondents in this category were the most heavily indebted, with nearly 648,000 in total debt. This is the most indebted age range, but it is increasing slowly as people hit their high earning years and their expenses have decreased. HELOCs played a big role, with the average balance exceeding 102,000 for those who have drawn on their lines of credit. Typical debt for 50 to 59-year-old Canadians, 566,000. Your 50s are a time to rapidly pay down debt and ramp up savings for retirement. Indeed, most 50-somethings will have established good savings habits and built up their retirement accounts while paying down their mortgage balance. The debt is now trending downwards. The survey found that the average 50 to 59-year-old who carries a mortgage owed about $367,000, while total debt was about $566,000. Typical debt for 60 to 69-year-old Canadians, $436,000. Most people should strive to be mortgage-free in retirement, but it's becoming more common for retirees to carry a mortgage balance. Indeed, the 60-somethings surveyed who still had a mortgage owed about $256,000, while their total debt load was still about $436,000. Typical debt for 70-plus-year-old Canadians, $217,500. Even Canadians aged 70 and older are carrying mortgage and line of credit debt. Of the 70-year-olds who responded to the survey, 11% still carried a mortgage balance, and that average balance was still around $217,500. Furthermore, 15% of those aged 70 and up still carried a HELOC, with an average balance exceeding $124,000. Debt in your 70s may be explained by the fact that retirees want to remain in their homes as long as possible. So they are accessing funds through a line of credit, reverse mortgages, which may allow retirees to stay in their homes and enjoy a preferred standard of living. The preferred result is that the person does not carry debt into retirement, however. How to get out of debt. Debt is on Canadians' minds, but so is getting out of debt. A 2023 BDO survey shows that 56% of Canadians polled plan to cut back on non-essential spends, vacations and eating out, to pay debt. 43% to hold back on essential spends, clothing, foods, and utilities. 26% to work more, and 30% are overwhelmed and just don't know what to do at all. But ideally, Canadians will reach their peak debt years in their 30s, when competing financial priorities are at their highest. Prioritize getting out of debt by tackling the highest interest rate balances first to get the biggest bang for your buck. This is called the avalanche method. That means treating credit card debt and other high interest consumer loan debt like a hair on fire emergency and paying it off quickly. After making a solemn vow to never pay another cent of credit card interest again, focus on lower interest debt such as your line of credit and mortgage. The other method is the snowball method, where one pays off the lowest balance debt first to get a sense of accomplishment and get the snowball rolling downhill. Because we are emotional creatures, the psychology of the snowball method actually yields better results, but I prefer the avalanche method myself. HELOCs are insidious because they don't require more than interest-only payments, so it's easy to let the balance ride while paying the minimum. Resist the temptation and build a debt payoff plan that rids you of the HELOC balance within a reasonable 3 to 5 year time frame. As for your mortgage, it's fine to prioritize other financial goals like saving and investing at the expense of paying off your mortgage early. The goal for many Canadians is to at least align your mortgage amortization schedule with your retirement date, ideally a few years before, to give you options to retire earlier or to catch up on retirement savings. So now, what about your own debt? Remember, debt is a normal part of life for most Canadians, particularly those located in high cost of living areas of the country. I would argue that mortgage debt is fine. Credit card debt is not, however. But no one is an average, so you may have higher than average debt to household income in your 20s and 30s, average debt to household income in your 40s and 50s, and be debt free in your 60s and beyond, therefore beating the average. The key is not to overextend yourself trying to prioritize everything at once. Avoid lingering credit card debt by paying off your balance every month, pay off lines of credit in a reasonable time frame, and align your mortgage payoff date with your retirement date to ensure you can retire comfortably and debt-free. If you have any requests on what you would like me to cover in future videos, please put that in the comment section. If you'd like to get in touch, please reach out on any of these social media channels, and may you have a profitable day.